Welcome to the channel. My name is Reni. I'm a pagan from the beautiful country of the Netherlands. I'm sitting next to this beautiful little river here we have. And these little rivers are just like our emotions. It needs to flow all the time. Because sometimes you see parts of the river where, the water is stagnant. That's usually where the water gets dirty, it gets mucky, and it starts to smell a bit. So water is like our life and like our emotions. It always needs to be moving, and we always need to keep it moving. But that's not what we're here for today. We're not talking about water or emotions. We're here to talk about one of the most greatest and famous creatures in all of mythology, the dragon. I'm going to tell you some dragon stories from different traditions, and I'm going to tell you how this all relates to everybody's famous Midgard serpent, Jormungandr. Because there is a big connection. Jormungandr, the son of Loki, who Odin threw in the ocean and who encircles the world of man. I actually made a video about him before, and in there I argued that, water could be a symbol of our feelings. But Jormungandr is not just in the water, it's below the water. You can't even see him. So when something is in your feeling, but it's in your feelings that you can't see, what is that Midgard serpent? I think the Midgard serpent represents our subconsciousness. And that's why maybe it's a serpent, because it's sometimes also something that we fear. And maybe that's why Thor can never truly kill the Midgard serpent. Well, in the tale of Ragnarok, he does kill Jormungandr, but he only is able to set a few more steps before he's dead himself. Maybe that's the lesson in that tale. Maybe that's, Thor represents man or pure will. And it shows you that you can never kill your subconscious, because you kill your subconscious, you kill yourself. If you're interested in that video, I'll link that in the description below. It has a little over 1,000 views now, I believe. But first I want to take you back, all the way back, to one of the oldest and biggest serpents that there ever was. I'm talking about Egyptian mythology, because they also have a snake. They also have a serpent. Their serpent is called Apep. And Apep lives in the west. And in the west, that's where the sun sets. So he is like the enemy of light, the enemy of the sun, the lord of chaos. And he's so big, in fact, that his tail encompasses the earth and he bites his own tail, just like Jormungandr. And to be honest, the Greek mythology also has a name for that. It's called Ouroboros, which, as far as name goes, I really like Ouroboros. But Apep battles with the god Ra every night. Every night when the sun sets, it looks like the serpent is hypnotizing Ra, and the serpent is winning and Ra is losing. But every morning when the sun sets, Ra wins again, and that's why the sun sets. So in that tale, it could represent the darkness which will come and will always go in the universe, on Earth, but also in our own lives. Because nature isn't just something outside of ourselves, nature is something inside of ourselves. You might think that like Jormungandr is the only serpent or dragon in Nordic mythology, but you'd be very wrong. I'm using the words serpent and dragon in the same sentence, and I'll explain later why. In Nordic mythology, there's of course a second dragon. There's a dragon that gnaws at the roots of Yggdrasil, which is a nasty fucker. But I don't want to focus on him. I want to tell you a bit of the tale of Sigurd and the dragon, which is one of the Nordic tales. Sigurd is the son of a king, but his father dies in battle before he is even born. So what you get in this tale is a legendary coming-of-age story, where Sigurd, he inherited the sword of his father, but it's all broken, which is symbolic, of course, of what he inherited from his father. Like everything that his father is inside of him, but he doesn't have his father to guide him. He needs to put the sword together himself. And in this tale, actually, Odin intervenes somewhat. He gives Sigurd a horse to defeat this dragon. And the horse is actually related to Sleipnir, his legendary eight-legged horse. Which is kind of funny because that would mean that what he got is actually the grandchild of Loki. Because Odin's horse is the son of Loki. But he fights with this dragon, and of course he slays this dragon. And this dragon has a giant treasure of gold and diamonds. That's a common theme, because I could tell you all the dragon stories. Well, I can't tell you all of them, because there are so many of them, but I can tell you a lot of them. And it always involves a dragon and some gold. Now, I believe that in this case, the dragon Fafnir was originally the son of a dwarven king. And the son of that dwarven king turned into that dragon. I believe what that symbolizes is he became possessed by wealth. I believe that the son of the dragon king became one of those people. We still have those people today, by the way. Those people who don't have any money. It's because they don't own money, the money owns them. They're possessed by wealth. It's the dark side of this first rune, Fehu, wealth. Jeff Bezos might be a modern example of that. So, is Jeff Bezos a dragon? He might very well be. We all know he hoards this massive pile of gold. But in these tales, these European tales of chivalry and knights fighting against dragon, the dragon often symbolizes your most deepest fear. And that oftentimes is the lesson. That's why they're gold there. Where your biggest fear is, that's where your biggest victory will be. Because life, sometimes it's a bit upside down, you know? If you just do what you love all the time, I can guarantee you, you can find hell and just amazing despair in what you love. But strangely enough, if you reverse that and you go like, I will really go with my biggest fear, and I will walk towards that. Strangely enough, you can find all the good things in your fear, because life is kind of like upside down, inside out. And that's, I believe, what most of the European dragon lore is about. Defeat your fear, defeat the dragon, and get the gold. Now, how does this all relate to your Munganda? And yeah, I've said, I've used dragon and serpent the same way. Well, if you look where dragon comes from, the word dragon came from the Latin word draco. And if you look up Latin draco, what you get is a serpent. That's how it's literally translated. So are all dragon tales serpent tales, and are all serpent tales dragon tales? They might be. Also a fun fact, oh, I'm forgetting the name, because there was like this Greek writer. I believe it was Aristotle. Aristotle wrote tales, and he used the word dragon and serpent to describe the same creature. So it seems like in olden times, there was no distinction between a dragon and a serpent. So Jormungandr, in that definition, could also be a dragon. So what are the lessons? What is symbolically that we can learn? Well, if a dragon represents your fear, and in the previous video I argued like that Jormungandr could represent our subconsciousness. What do we find in our subconsciousness? What is buried in our subconsciousness? Sometimes there's stuff buried there because we want it buried, because we don't want to feel that. Because a lot of the times it's fear. And because, like this dragon Apep and Ouroboros and Jormungandr, they encircle the world of man, it's almost like there's this boundary that they represent. This boundary that we need to cross in order to truly be free. And what is that boundary? That boundary is our own fear. So, and when we've conquered that fear, not only do we get the gold, we are free. Maybe that's the true gold. Maybe it's not that Jeff Bezos type of gold. Maybe it's just that inner freedom and inner alchemy that we then gain. So, could we just have found maybe even some more meaning when it comes to the word serpent? Possibly. If you like this, please let me know in the comments. And if you have another idea, if you know any other dragon tales with some symbolism which could add or subtract to this theory, I would love to hear them in the comments. Thank you for watching, thank you for liking and subscribing. En I'll see you all next week. Ga met de goden.